here we go. We're in the draft. It's going to be game 1 for Clovers and their Lepricon going up against Team Empire. I'm Mike Loris, going to be the one messing up the camera. Got Winter here as well. See how this draft is going to progress. We already went over how both these teams typically tend to be a little bit more chaotic, typically tend to be a little bit more skirmishy, but you know, heroes like the IO, heroes like the Doom, I'll take those out first.
Yeah, but I was going to talk about Night Stalker as well. I think Night Stalker could be a key hero for both teams, but for Clovers, even on first pick, they decide to remove the Stalker, and Empire is removing the Doom. It's very common for the team that's on second pick to have to remove the Doom. It's one of the strongest heroes right now in the patch. But yeah, I think the Whisk could be... I don't think Empire actually picks the Whisk. Maybe just 4 Clovers has a higher chance to actually do it.
Yeah, the Empire IO is definitely not as much of a thing as the 4 Clovers IO, and in this game it's not going to be a thing at all. It is going to get the ban out. Outside of that, I mean, okay, we just got to go with the Shadow Fiend, but you know, you got to watch out for outside of these, you know, generally powerful heroes, the Tiny specifically for 4 Clovers. They would pick it up at a drop of the hat, just, you know, for Tiny's sake almost, and you know, I'm pretty sure they're not going to pick it up in the second pick, but down the line, you know, who knows.
Yeah, it's just a very standard opening. The Radiant side going for Shadow Fiend when it's not banned, and Empire respond with... It's a very general opening with Tusk plus Gyro. Support Tusk, offlane Tusk, or... Gyrocopter is just a very safe carry that fits into a lot of lineups. Very teamfight centric, very good in the lane, decent late game. And for Clovers, usually when you go for Shadow Fiend opening, your support, you want a defensive support like Dazzle or Wyvern to actually protect the Shadow Fiend in the fights.
Yeah, and just in lane, if the Shadow Fiend needs a little bit more of an edge up against a tough level 1 matchup, something like someone versus the Templar Assassin, a couple of pokes here and there, of course, never going to go awry. Give the Winter Wyvern a little bit of time, make some stacks in the jungle, and Shadow Fiend's going to be cashing in on that down the line as well, but just seems like it's a pretty standard fare across the board, nothing too interesting just yet. That's going to be coming in the 3rd and 4th picks, almost guaranteed, but we're going to have the Tiny banned out, Viper as well as the Darkseer. Lots of heroes that we've seen a lot of success with in the past tournament. It was Dream League last, and then of course the Major right before that.
Yeah, if you look at the bans from 4 Clovers, their next 2 bans were targeted to protecting the Shadow Fiend. Because they don't want... Shadow Fiend obviously struggles against Viper if the lane doesn't go too well for him. And he's gonna rely on stacks and whatnot. Even though he's on Radiant side, they are making sure that he doesn't get any tough opposition in the lane. Like Tiny could also be a hero that might screw up the Shadow Fiend's lane. Like if you do dual lanes like Tiny plus Lich, we saw that from a couple of teams. They could screw up the lane for Shadow Fiend a lot. And Empire is obviously just banning heroes that gel really well with the Wyvern and Shadow Fiend. The combo, the vacuum into Curse and Requiem. So both teams have their game plan set up. Like 4 Clovers also want to make sure that Shadow Fiend gets a good start in the lane, and Empire is just taking away all the team fight potential of 4 Clovers.
Yeah, because this is just the start of the LAN phase, at least for this tournament. We don't have that, you know, LAN meta developed, at least not just yet.
They actually could have gone for the Darkseer because they are actually first phase. They have first pick in this phase, but maybe we will see a Tusk as an offlaner. Was still an option for Empire if they don't want to pick the Darkseer at all.
We have Dazzle pick up, which shouldn't be too surprising from Team Empire, after having banned out the Wraith King, however.
Yeah, Wraith King is weird though. Maybe the teams scream each other a lot and they know that 4 Clovers want to pick Wraith King in a certain type of strategy. I mean, it's good at buffing up the Shadow Fiend even more, because you give him the aura.
Yeah, more lifesteal is never going to be bad, of course, especially for someone who deals that much damage, but for whatever reason, it's going to be the Wraith King taken out. I gotta assume it's a, you know, respect / we're familiar with your type of play style type of ban, because other than that, I mean, I'm always kind of meh on the Wraith King. Maybe that's just me.
You know,
like, kind of medium all the
time. I don't
know
about Wraith King though, but I feel like Huskar might be a pick here for 4 Clovers as well. Maybe not this pick, maybe in the next pick or the last one. Because their heroes, what Empire have right now, are not very good at dealing with Huskar.
Yeah, you get a little bit of mixed physical damage in there, like Dream Scenario, Shadow Wave, but how often does that happen? Outside of that, Gyrocopter doesn't really fare very well against Huskar. Tusk is very, very limited in how he fares there, so Empire really do have to be sure to pick up a little bit more right-click damage, and as far as probably going to be the mid lane, where they're going to have to actually grab that, what do you say, like Templar Assassin probably going to, or Wind Ranger, some of the best no Huskar picks that Empire can make right now.
It seems like Gyro, yeah, I think they need another carry, because Gyro is not very good versus all these heroes. He's very weak versus all the minus armor, and they have BKB control from the Wyvern. So gyro is not gonna be like gyro alone is not gonna be enough in the mid to late stage. They need another mid hero, like you mentioned. It's gonna be able to dish off physical damage or carry the team.
Empire already know their mid lane matchup most likely should be the Shadow Fiend unless something changes in the next pick.
Yeah, it's
they could probably wait.
It's gonna be the Shadow Fiend. I mean, if you want a good matchup against Shadow Fiend, right now you mentioned like TA. Obviously Viper would be the best at like crippling his laning phase. And Queen of Pain is a bit risky. Okay, so it was the Rubik. So like I mentioned, when they ban the Darkseer, it's more or less a very good tell that this is gonna be off laner, because they could have gone for the Darkseer as their off laner if they wanted to.
Oh, well, 4 Clovers, they're gonna show all their cores off, or at least I would imagine they would. Bat Rider, one of the Bamboo specialties. So you know, Slardar safe, Shadow Fiend in the mid lane, going for the 20-ish minute, get the Blink Dagger, start getting those pickoffs into timing push beatdown kind of strategies. Pretty much what you would expect from 4 Clovers, a team that can always reinitiate and always fight.
But the bad thing about having Bat and Shadow Fiend in the same team is your jungle will get crowded, because both of these heroes require to use the jungle. And for Bat Rider, it's really important to get, if he doesn't get a good laning phase, obviously most of the time Bat doesn't really get too much from the lane, and he's gonna require to go into the jungle, and that's gonna, if he does that, it's gonna negate a lot of the positive aspects of having the Radiant Shadow Fiend. So, I mean, it's a good combo together in team fights, because you lasso someone and you drag someone into the Shadow Fiend, so he drops the Requiem, and your team has to decide whether you want to go in or not. Obviously, they have the Tusk and the Dazzle to actually help deal with that. So, I'm not sure about the Bat Rider in this game. I know they like to pick the hero.
For sure. I mean, Rubik also not bad against Bat Rider.
Really
fast.
Good heroes to deal with the Bat Rider, actually.
Very fast disables coming out from those heroes.
So let's see what Empire chooses to go for the mid lane carry. I mean, if they want to go all out aggression, they can go for like maybe an Invoker, an Exalt Invoker, and then they do probably Rubik, Dazzle, Gyro. They can contest lanes basically right now. Their lanes are really strong. And with Exalt Invoker, it's gonna even put their tri-lane in a much better position with the soundtrack. But mostly the teams that have been drafting Invoker recently, it's all qualifiers. Apart from maybe some players, they go just 1 point in Exalt for the alacrity, for the laning phase. But overall, there will always be like qualifiers Invoker.
It seems like Empire were gonna try to mess with the 4 Clovers last ban by banning out the Ancient Apparition, Alchemist, Huskar. Probably the two that are really big there. But 4 Clovers didn't take the bait, and Empire's gonna screw it. We're just gonna grab that powerful hero, the hero we were talking about before, Templar Assassin. I think probably that or Wind Ranger. Very similar as far as what they do for the Team Empire side, and they're gonna settle on the TA. It's a pretty good matchup versus the Shadow Fiend, even with the Winter Wyvern's help.
They're on the Dire as well, so you have much more benefit of picking a TA compared to the Windrunner and the other heroes, because you can do Roche with TA. But TA is not very good versus Bat, but overall I think they have a very solid strategy. We'll see whether they actually do aggressive lanes. I think that's going to be the most important part of their strategy, whether they decide to actually pressure at the start. But Tusk versus Bat Rider, I mean, it's not a lane that it's so good for Tusk, but I mean, it's fine for Tusk. I think Tusk can actually lane versus Bat Rider 1v1. Actually, Bambo plays the Bat and Nikwa plays the Slardar, right? So Slardar will be safe lane.
Unless they really want to mix it up, and I don't think that's going to be happening.
But either way, Tusk is fine versus either of those two heroes. I don't think it's a matchup where you feel, oh, Tusk is going to struggle. I think Tusk does actually fine versus those two. And it's going to be up to whether the Gyro, the Dazzle, and the Rubik, how much they actually get done in the early laning phase. And I think 4 Clovers needs a very strong laner right now as their support.
They have Winter Wyvern, Ancient Apparition. As far as, I mean, we would have been pretty good, I think, just getting that lockdown in the lane, getting that huge, massive damage. But here's really where you want to have someone like a Rubik to try to set up for that Slardar stun. Earthshaker, something along those lines for 4 Clovers?
I mean, Earthshaker is not really good at like securing. I mean, it's good at roaming and stacking, but it's gonna be hard. If their lanes are Shaker, Wyvern, this is like a it's a very similar pick to Wyvern or the Bane, but Bane was banned, or Dazzle. These 4 supports are categorized under the same type of supports. They are lane dominators, they win the lane. And with the Lich pick, their lanes might be interesting, because you can actually do Lich Slardar off now, depending on how they want and who they want to actually make fat first, either the Slardar or the Bat Rider. I think they probably would do Lich Slardar off lane, higher chance, and then you have Bat Rider safe lane, so Bat Rider can use his own jungle to farm. I think that's a very high chance that they will actually do that.
We'll see, as they are all loading out into their lanes right now. Of course, Saxa Going to be playing the Winter Wyvern, is going to be teleporting out, looking for that very early Observer, and these lanes from 4 Clovers, sending Nikwa so far up towards the top lane. Pycat Shadow Fiend over in mid, pretty much was going to be that no matter what, EGM may or may not stick around for a couple sacks there, but Bat Rider, of course, on played by Bambo, on the safe lane, so it seems like we're going to have a little bit more of a, off-lane slaughter-ish type build. This is a little bit better for the Bat Rider as far as his Blink Dagger is concerned, but I'm not really sure if this lane is going to have the best of times here.
The off lane is pretty much the safe lane for 4 Clovers right now, because the Lich will be there, and I think overall, if 4 Clovers can get their, I think the timing would be getting their blinks on Bat, or either one of those would, one of those 2 heroes will get the blink first, and then you have the mech from Shadowfiend. That is their timing, around 11 minutes, 10-11. Shadowfiend has 6k net worth and he has his mech and treads, and then you have a blink on either the. I think the Slaughter would actually get his blink first because he's laning with the Lich at top, I think.
Oh, Blink Dagger is definitely going to be at a premium here for 4 Clovers. It's like one of those games where get your Blink Daggers, then just go ahead and start those initiations off. And of course, the more blinks you have, the better. Empire don't really have a very similar timing to that. I mean, Templar Assassin with the Blink Dagger it's a good item.
Their timing is actually faster, I think, because their timing is not with items but with levels. When Gyro has level 6, you want to make the level 6 movement, you smoke. You go into the jungle, you place wards, and if you actually happen to find the Shadow Fiend doing stacks or Bat Rider doing stacks at that time, you kill him, you get a ward down. That is going to deter a lot of the 4 Clovers' rhythm and momentum in the game. So it's not more about items that they're going to get, it's about their first movement with the Gyrocopter.
They're going to be brawling out in the mid lane. Saxa, doing what he can up against the Templar Assassin in pretty standard fare. Unfortunately, got a little bit too close to the Shadow Wave and just got blown to shreds. He's going to be just fine and is, going to try to help Pycat as best he can. But it seems like we are just going to have a little bit of a pause. But either way, it is going to be, just...
So we might actually have some technical difficulties
here.
Yeah. We have to fix something. But I think overall the lanes were... I think I mentioned that very good chance that they were actually going to do this type of laning setup with the Lich Slada. So, but overall, Empire didn't choose to go for the aggressive lane. They are just going for standard lanes, Rubik, Gyro, safe lane, and obviously middle lane is always going to be accompanied by one of the supports. Nowadays, it's never a 1v1 matchup.
And Dazzle, of course, going to have his hands full playing the quote-unquote roaming Dazzle, but yeah, it's definitely giving a little bit of an edge towards that Templar Assassin, going to be stacking up the Ancients. You mentioned earlier Templar Assassin on the dire side specifically great versus Roshan, of course, but pretty easy access to the Ancients. I mean, not that much harder than the Radiant, honestly, but still, being able to stack those up as the Dazzle and probably stick around and get that experience, no fear. Playing this really nomadic role is going to be really hurting for those levels, and Dazzle that's under-leveled, not exactly a spectacular hero.
Yeah, but that's like, he just wants to make sure that they get the Ancient stack, so the TA gets his timing, and then they can do Roche. Empire's timing is, they're gonna get into the game with the first timing, the call down timing, where they make a rotation, and then after that they're gonna focus on stacking Ancients and farming the Ancients, and you get the Dazzle on the TA, and then you do Roshan. That's their timing. So that would, the first timing would be the level 6 Gyrocopter, and then after that we'll see whether they get the mech on Shadowfiend, or the blink on the Slaughter or the Bat Rider.
And of course, is there anything that Empire can, or that 4 Clovers can do to actually jam up that timing? I feel like this Slaughter Lich lane is not really one that could, decisively slow down the Gyrocopter, and all the other lanes, I mean, they're fine for 4 Clovers. They're not going to be lanes where they're just going to outright lose, but as far as actively pressuring the Empire side and trying to jam them out of what they want to do, I don't really think these are lanes for 4 Clovers or heroes from 4 Clovers really that can do that.
Yeah, but their supports are designed to actually get their cores into a better laning phase situation. So right now Slada is actually not farming too much if you look at his CS. He only has 4. I actually expected him to have
It's gonna get worse. Lift up onto EGM. Heal Bomb's gonna destroy his health pool. Then with the rockets, that's gonna be no fear grabbing the kill, and Nikwa even took a lot of damage just from overall spill AoE there, but that Lich did not stand a chance.
Yeah, that is like a really big move they have to make, like against a Lich or a Lich lane. If you kill him, you get a lot of experience because he's actually gaining a lot from sacrificing. So that's a huge swing in the laning phase for Empire, and this is not looking good for 4CL because the Slada's blink is really important. But if you look at the other lane, like Bat Rider is actually having a much better time. So he's gonna get a solo kill on Funnick, probably.
Oh. 4 stacks of napalm, you're not going anywhere after the snowball. You're just gonna die as soon as he unleashes that snowball.
Yep. So the timing
there.
is a little bit adjusted right now. The blink is gonna come faster for Bat Rider, so it's still fine for 4 Clovers overall. Shadow Fiend is getting farm. So because I mentioned their timing would be the mech plus the first blink from either the Slaughter or the Bat. And at this rate, the Bat is definitely gonna get his blink first.
Probably with the effectiveness being about equal as far as who gets their blink dagger first.
I mean, some people might argue that Bat's blink is better.
Oh, they're going to try to go in for Bambo, though. At least Funnick will. He's going to do a lot of damage with the shards. 20 HP. Bambo is in the skies right now, and he's going to get a little bit of help from the Winter Wyvern. Funnick may have overcommitted, sitting in the fire. He has 3 stick charges. It's not going to help him. Bat Rider's going to turn around and get the kill. Blink dagger a little bit faster, and Funnick going a little bit too ham.
It's going to be like, what, a 5-6 minute blink? And now he has the regen rune.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Okay.
That would have been too much. That would have been too much.
That would have actually been too much, honestly.
Play well. Get rewarded, I guess, but he's gonna have to take a trip back to the base. Not gonna be a terribly huge deal. Saxa is gonna help maintain the lane while he's gone, but yeah, with the top lane from 4 Clovers really struggling. Of course, the mid lane is more or less a wash. Pycat versus Resolution, as you would expect. Matchup. The Bat Rider is going to be the pressured one here for 4 Clovers. They really have to do a lot of heavy lifting with this hero.
I mean, yes, he's going to do a lot of heavy lifting because he had a really good start compared to the Slaughter, but it's also... some of it is also going to be falling on the hands of the Shadow Fiend because he needs to get the mech at a good timing as well. It's on the Radiant side.
Oh,
and
no fear.
No fear. Did he actually scout? I think he just scouted if the stacks, right?
So he knows about the stacks. Fortunately for him, there's no interrupts here, so he's going to teleport out.
Ah, that's weird, right? Because he didn't have actually a ward. Usually you do that and you bring a ward or observer ward or sentry with you so you can actually either block or place a ward so you get vision. But he just scouts it out with his hero. But regardless, whether they are actually able to steal the stack, it's another story. Because I mentioned, right, the cooldown, that timing is going to be the timing to decide whether they get to steal the stack.
Stack is not even that huge right now. You expect with the Winter Wyvern sticking around that mid lane for as long as she did, there would be well, at least more than 2. But it's never too late to start stacking up your jungle, and of course Bat Rider is going to cash in on that regardless of when that happens. He's very close to his blink dagger. May not even have to stack for himself, as most of the time, or very oftenly we see Bat Riders forced to take this stack up, at least on the Radiant side. They can afford to give it to Pycat, help him accelerate, and maybe get that faster mechanism. What does he have flying out to him right now? Whole bunch of stuff. Looks like it's just bottle and
I think at this point the Bat will take this stack and then he'll get his blink, then smoke. And obviously the next high priority kill is... I think the higher priority kill is probably the gyro, because I mentioned the timing that Empire is gonna have the first timing they have is the cooldown. So if you can actually kill him, it will be the best kill I think 4 Clovers can get with the dagger, with the first blink.
Not gonna go for the TA? Is that at all?
I mean, both of those are really big kills, but I think if you look for a kill that's gonna interrupt the momentum of Empire, I think the gyro kill would be a bigger interruption, because TA right now is gonna just focusing on farming and getting to the Deso timing so they can do Roshan. But Gyro is like the Bat Rider of their team when he has the level 6. He's gonna move to create space and create the timing for his team. So I think the gyro would be a bigger kill in terms of the bigger picture of the overall strategy.
Who am I to second guess you, Winter? Second Bambo is going to smoke up and go towards the top lane. Unfortunately for them, Havost is right now in a pretty defensive position.
He's really safe though, he's even pulling for himself. But he might still get initiated.
Oh, Bambo, yeah, he's going to grab him. However, the backup is nowhere nearby. Havost should be able to just walk out of here, and he will.
That was actually... He was actually too far ahead of his teammate.
Yeah.
His teammate was like very far behind, so I'm not sure about that. That was maybe just some miscommunication. He thought his team was following him because they had a Slaughter.
Get a Frost Blast in there, get a Crush, and 10 times out of 10 Havost is going to die, but that's unfortunate for 4 Clovers for the most part, showing off their Blink Dagger and getting absolutely nothing.
That was a really important kill they wanted to get. But unfortunately for them, they have to wait for another minute before Sexy Bambo can try again. But he's going back into the jungle, so this is actually going to slow down Shadow Fiend by quite a bit. This game, he has a lot of farm from the lane. But usually Radiant Shadow Fiend is so big because of he gets good farm in the lane and he gets jungle stack as well. This is the effect of having Bat Rider and Shadow Fiend in the same team. You're going to be very crowded in the jungle.
At the same time, not having someone who's just, dedicated in the jungle, just stacking up almost exclusively. Saxa was, maybe charged with doing that. Maybe that was kind of his plan, but ended up with a free lane on the bottom. I mean, it's level 5.5 on the Winter Wyvern. Definitely not a cooldown that you can scoff at, but 5.5 isn't necessarily 6. Really does need that Winter's Curse. He's going to make good on that. Oh, top lane. There's going to be a call down onto EGM. Kaboom goes the Dynamite. As a dead Lich. Nico again taking a lot of that spill damage. TB coming in for the Winter Wyvern, but even with the Cold Embrace, I'm pretty sure the Lich is mega dead there. It's going to be Empire grabbing the first kill with the call down, and this Gyrocopter is now putting out a hell of a lot of damage.
Yeah, they have to be very careful when they're ganking the other lanes as well, because Clovers has the TP when he has call down ready.
Oh, they're going to try to go for mid, yeah. Snowball coming in with Templar Assassin inside. Podcast going to take hit, Walrus Punch, and of course the right clicks. Dazzle's going to steal the kill, because of course that's what Dazzle does, but no, TP coming in. It's going to be Lich, gets Embraced, so he's going to live for a little while longer, but there's a double damager on Resolution. You're not going to escape that, or will he? No, he'll just walk out. They don't have any more disables now. Resolution taking tower shots. They will snipe him with the shards, it seems, but Funnick, in the meantime, is going to get lassoed in the fire. They're going to try to go for no fear as well. Funnick, just one more hit to die, and looks like he will eventually fall. That Snowball, I don't know where it's going, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to save him. It won't. Bambo's going to grab that kill. It's going to be a 3 for 2 after all is said and done, but for Empire, they killed off the Slaughter, they killed off the Shadow Fiend. Templar Assassin survives. That's pretty much the ideal fight.
Dude, Slaughter died solo to Gyro at top?
Oh, well,
what?
Yes, that is of course what I meant. I don't know how that happens, but that is the last thing that 4 Clovers need to happen right now.
It was supposed to be a 2-for-2 exchange, but regardless, I think Empire still got the better trade there because they managed to kill the Shadow Fiend and they forced a lot of rotations from 4 Clovers. That's going to slow down their timing with the mech, so that would be really helpful. And Bambo also used his lasso, so after those series of events right now, Clovers will feel really safe on top. Because there's no lasso, basically, and Sada doesn't have blink, so he's pretty safe farming under his tower.
And Funnick, even though he's died now 3 times, this is still a level 8 Tusk 10 minutes in.
Tusk is still doing a lot of work with just levels. That's how strong the hero is. And Resolution already cleared one of his ancient stacks as well, so how far is he off the Desolator actually? Still pretty far.
Yeah, he doesn't have any components just yet. That first stack was like a 3 or 4
he built a lot of
stacks.
small items.
Oh. Well.
Lift into cooldown, that's exactly the same way he died the last time as well.
EGM, I mean, you're in a lane by yourself as any hero, you try to cash in there, but...
Rubik has sacrificed, that's actually really handy.
Alright, well, I mean, in the thick of things, not exactly the skill that you want to have, but in between these fights, in this scenario, just 10 minutes in, that's a lot of experience going away from 4 Clovers, going in towards the Rubik, and, well, it's not going to help them kill the Pycat necessarily, but if they do find an angle just to lift the Shadow Fiend up, regen rune, sticks, treads, they may just be able to kill off the Shadow Fiend as well. Of course, they need cooldown for that. They don't have that right now. And
this is the timing, the cooldown smoke.
There it is, and they're going to have a target as well. It's Nikwa. He has power treads, nowhere really close to his blink dagger, but hey, if you can get a kill on Slaughter, you might as well go ahead and try for it.
They don't have a ward on the Rubik though, so this invasion, if they don't find any kills, they won't be able to place wards as well, so they need to be able to get a kill here.
Well, Nikwa does have backup around the corner. 2 flyers, they're smoked up as well, but they're going to get the lift up onto Nikwa, buzz him down with the guns. He may get lassoed, and he will. Is there enough damage to actually kill off the Gyrocopter? Looks like there should be. He will get the cooldown off beforehand, but it's not really going to do that much. In fact, it completely misses on Bambo, and now Rubik, he's on his way out. Slowed down a touch, perhaps, but looks like it is going to be the Gyrocopter going down for the Slaughter. Not exactly the trade that Empire were looking for, the fight they were looking for. Snowball in onto Bambo now. Funnick is all alone. The Walrus Punch gets pretty much nullified by the Embrace. Now here comes Resolution. There's no more Embrace for this one. Bambo is getting a little help from the Curse. It's going to pull Resolution over to the side. Chain Frost now going to be used. It's going to bounce up to the creep. Unfortunately, Chain Frost not going to do too much, and now EGM's going to get chased down. Traps are set, and it will slow down Lich. Probably enough to get the kill. We will, of course, wait and see. As Slardar is disconnected, he canceled his teleported to mid. He's gonna sprint in. I'm pretty sure EGM is dead. Will anyone else die here?
I mean, I guess it depends whether Bambo decides to stay and try to do something more. He has a lot of stick charges, and Firefly is coming off cooldown, so maybe he's gonna try and do something, but it's gonna be very risky here. So
there's a Fade Bolt. They're ready if No Fear's ready.
I don't know, maybe they actually will take the fight though, because it's 5v4. Sala's on the left, Shadow Fiend's on the right. They might be able to sandwich Empire in the middle of the river here. And Funnick doesn't have any... He has mana for 1 spell, okay, stick charges. So he can do his full combo, but if he goes in, I think he's gonna die.
It's definitely a precarious situation here for the Empire side, specifically Funnick, of course, but everyone else caught in between all these heroes. And even like Saxa, he is the Soul Ring, so he should always have mana. He does have quite a bit of it. Winter Wyvern, no curse, no problem, really. I mean, everyone's going to be, if they do chase in Empire, they're going to be going into a very, very thin bottleneck. And Lich can't really punish that. He doesn't really have anything going. Bambo doesn't have a ton either, but if Slaughter and Shadow Fiend are actually able to get into position, then is there a disengage plan here at all for Empire? There's, enemies to the bottom, enemies going to be coming from the north.
Basically, if they go in, it's a one-way ticket. If they don't kill all their enemies, they're gonna be able to. They're not gonna be able to get out. It's all about fighting their way out. If they can kill everyone, or maybe at least kill enough so that the opponent cannot react to you.
Gotta go down in a blaze of glory. Templar Assassin, I guess she does have a hammer. It's not like she's going to be missing out on a ton of gold or, hammer worth of gold should she die in this situation. But having a Rubik with, right now, no spell steal, having a Dazzle here. I mean, yeah, you typically want those heroes to be with your Templar Assassin, but as far as those supports fighting their way out, yeah, you probably would have a couple better options.
Yeah, but if you look at the Slaughter as well, he's built, he has 1 point in Bash. And usually, like some players, I think would have actually more points in sprints.
Yeah.
You don't really need to max your. I think it's a big deal though. Like you want to be able to get into the fight. Sometimes the little bit of damage and duration is not so important. So we'll see whether he actually gets in time into a good position.
Talking about this a little bit with the complexity team. What do you think about the Power Treads 1 point bash type of setup that Slaughter currently has right now?
I think you do it when you get a 1v1 matchup in the lane, where you can actually use the attack speed and the bash to actually win your lane. I think that's the only, like for me, I only do it in that sort of scenario. I think in this game he was Lich, Slaughter, and he was against Rubik, Gyro, and Dazzle was also roaming around. I don't think this was the best build for him this game, but maybe he thought that they could have actually won their lane better, so they could actually have more kill potential with this build. But even if you go for the 1 point bash, I think at level 5 you should have 2-2-1. Instead of just 1 point sprint, because if you look at the scaling of the crush has a very small scaling. It doesn't really improve by a huge load. But if you look at sprint is really good. Like 8% movement speed is a lot at every level.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up really, really quickly if you just say, oh, it's just 8%. No, I mean, Slaughter, he has the power treads, of course, so he's not going to be just roughing it with brown boots or anything like that. But we have the goes, and let's see, do Empire fall back, or do they just go all in? They are going in, it seems. EGM still dropping very low. There's a lot of creeps here. He's going to get the deny. No kill so far, and they actually do snipe out the Winter Wyvern. Snowball coming in from the Tusk, going to unfortunately not connect. He goes a little bit too far. Like Empire, they've taken down only one, the Winter Wyvern here that I didn't expect to die. Pycat, he's gonna get sharded in, and here comes the Gyrocopter. He does not have his call down, but he does have a lot of rockets. That'll pop the Shadow Fiend immediately. For 4 Clovers, they lose 2 heroes, 3 heroes, I guess, if you count the Lich, but Empire actually don't lose anyone.
Yep, they managed to, like I mentioned, they killed enough heroes that 4 Clovers had to retreat. There's nothing much they can do there. So it's really unfortunate that they lost the Shadow Fiend there as well. So it's going to set back his mech timing. He still needs a recipe. Like, this is the reason why I say when you have 2 heroes using the jungle, like usually at 10-11 minutes I mentioned, Shadow Fiend and Raiden should have 6k net worth. If you look at Pykat's net worth right now, it's 5k because Bear Rider took the stacks. He would have had his mech for that fight if no one was like taking the jungle, like if he had the jungle for himself. So I feel like that's personally a huge deal for running a Radiant Shadow Fiend.
And as nice as it is to have a Blink Dagger Bat Rider, he's just a one-off hero. I mean, you get the lasso and you do some magic damage along the way, of course, but outside of that, in that situation where Bat Rider was kind of in the middle of that fight, yet didn't have his lasso, kind of feels like a mediocre hero. Granted, he wasn't exactly healthy to start things out, but yeah, having the Shadow Fiend in this kind of underfarm state, not exactly ideal. They're going to look for the Rubik. They will not find him. The Rays don't think connected, don't think it would have been lethal even if it did, so not a big deal. Everyone is going to be just fine right now, but 5-9 Empire have pretty good control in this game, and their Desolator Templar Assassin, she has 1 hammer. She's not too far away from having that completed item.
Yep, she should have it soon, but right now I feel like Empire is still in a much better position because their heroes are much more farm, like especially on the TA.
Oh, Bambo caught sleeping. He's gonna hit with the shards and of course the snowball. He's gonna flame break, try to fly down, but he gets punched in the back. That was a really long range right click from the Tusk. Not sure how he did that, but that's just Bambo expecting to see any incoming enemies,
and
then blink away.
All of a sudden the Tusk is gonna get his mag faster than the Shadowfiend. That is not good news for Clovers.
Oh, and Rubik stealing amplified damage.
Oh dear.
With,
okay, Roshan.
With Templar Assassin timing. Doesn't get any better than that. I don't think they could have even planned it any better.
Yeah, and we'll see what Hobos chooses to dominate as well with his creep. I think against this lineup, you can either go for Frost Armor or the Wolf. Frost Armor would be really good versus the Slada.
Yeah, maybe just gonna grab whatever he can get simply because Roshan is on the table, and yeah, he's gonna grab the Wild Wing. Little bit of armor, I guess. Maybe Frost Armor light, but hey, with amplified damage and Templar Assassin on dire side, time to go for Roshan. For Clovers, they do have their lasso.
Oh, they read the play.
Fly in. It's Bambo seeing that there's no Roshan in the pit right now. He will spot him in the end. Do Empire want to force this? Maybe they look to snowball outside onto the
I think ideally for Clovers, they want to take the fight after they finish the 4-star. They're really close to getting 4-star on the Bat Rider, but okay, no time for that.
Yeah. Their Roshan's dropping really rapidly right now.
They can't contest it.
They can't do anything. Are they going to try to steal it? Bambo doesn't have Firefly, doesn't have Vision. It's going to be an Aegis on Templar Assassin. Shards will fly out, not catch anyone. And the Snowball is going to drag Funnick way too far away from his allies. Now he's going to get lassoed and beaten down by Nico, but he's so tanky right now. He even has the mech and he doesn't even have to use it just yet. They are not going to do anything to Funnick right now, and someone up on the high ground, it's Saxa. He's going to teleport out of there in the end. More Shards will fly. No one's going to get caught by that. Empire don't get any kills, but they got the Aegis. They have the Desolator now completed on Resolution whenever the Courier gets back out onto the field. This Tier 1 tower at least is going to die, but that's only the first thing I think that Empire are going to take. They're also going to try to go for Pycat over in the mid lane. Lift it up. He doesn't have a lot of mana right now, but he does find enough for the mechanism. Call down missile number 1 is going to slow him down by just a hair right now. EGM is here with the Chain Frost, which will force everyone from Empire away. That should save Pycat, and it looks like it will. But Tier 1 tower on the bottom lane still does fall, and Empire can slide probably into all the other lanes, look to take all the rest of the towers as well. 4 Clovers really can't fight right now.
Yeah, that is a long cooldown expanded on the Chain Frost, and they didn't have the lasso as well. So right now they have the Blink and Force, but they need to wait for their cooldowns before they can try to take a fight. I think even against the Aegis on the TA, if 4 Clovers get a good initiation, like technically if you get a good lasso off, you can still take the fight. Like you lasso one guy and you drop the curse on the heroes coming in to help the first target, and then you drop a Chain Frost on top of that. So they still have a very good amount of team fight to be able to win against the Aegis.
Well, they definitely need their Shadow Fiend if that's going to be the case. Shadow Fiend now does have a TP scroll, but he's going to be aggressive on.
He has no mana. He might be
mid lane. Resolution may lose his Aegis at the exact same time. Seems like Pycat's going to try to TP out, but the Snowball, of course, will cancel. Here comes the missiles, the Rocket Barrage, and the call down. Pycat is going to pop by himself at the top lane. Resolution, he will lose his Aegis, it seems, over in the mid lane. Refraction not quite going to do it. That's Aegis down for the Shadow Fiend. That in and of itself is fine for Empire. Can they teleport heroes from top lane? Seems like they can, but they're not going to. Shadow Fiend down, they lose the Aegis on Resolution.
Did they use any big cooldowns for that?
I don't think they did. I think they just caught her with like the burn and then just chased her down.
Oh yeah, that's actually, I mean, you lose the Shadow Fiend, so for Aegis, obviously Empire is still happy for that. But I think 4 Clovers could be contented because they didn't actually blew any big cooldowns, you know. They didn't use the curse, they didn't use like lasso, they just killed a hero, like killed the Aegis for nothing.
Yeah. Losing the Shadow Fiend though, in this game for 4 Clovers, that's just so expensive. They need him to be doing damage because, you know, you get the lasso off on the Bat Rider, you're feeling good until you can't kill your enemies. And Slaughter, he's just so massively underfarmed. 1,000 gold towards his Blink Dagger. I mean, yeah, it'll help him get in for sure, but as far as dealing damage, Slaughter's just never really going to do this in this game. He's behind the enemy Rubik in net worth. This is a really rough Slaughter game.
I think because the laning phase didn't go so well, like I mentioned, when they did this laning setup, they put the bad 1v1 bottom, and I mean, it's not even 1v1 because the Wyvern was also there occasionally. So they let Bat Rider have a better start, and the Lich Slaughter lane was against 3 heroes. So they didn't really do so well. So this is like the aftermath of how they actually decide to lane.
Pycat, don't go up there. Don't do it. Oh, he's going to hit with his own raise. Lift it up, and if he runs to the right side, there's Havos there. He does have a haste, but he's going to run right into a snowball and a Walrus Punch. There's a curse trying to get him a little bit of space right now. He's going to try to pop the Requiem. It won't work. He'll die in the end, and now EGM's going to approach in. Shards are going to catch Sax's retreat. No fear, taking a little bit of damage himself, but now here comes the call down onto the Winter Wyvern. That's going to annihilate him. Nico's finally arrived, but he can do nothing here except for watch EGM fall. Who's all alone, by the way, and he's going to get annihilated by Havos. That's 3 kills for Empire. And for 4 Clovers, barely a whimper of a response. This tier 1 tower in the top lane is definitely going to fall.
Yeah, basically their lineup couldn't come online fully because they didn't have, like, if Slaughter had a blink there, maybe they could have actually turned the whole fight around because Saxa actually got a really good curse off. And unfortunately there was no follow-up because Slaughter couldn't get into position to drop the crush. So their lineup is not coming into shape fast enough compared to Empire. Empire's tempo of the game is much faster, and this is, it's not even the players playing bad, you know, it's a result of their strategy, their overall strategy, because they have 3 cores that require to take a lot of space and farm. No one is actually making enough room for all the 3 heroes to get to their double blink and mag timing fast enough.
Just a very delicate balancing game for 4 Clovers, and I mean, when you have to juggle that many assets with, you know, a large item as well. Blink Dagger's 2,000 gold. It's not something you could pick on a whim. It's a lot of delicate timings that you have to reach. Snowball shards onto Nikwa. He is sprinting right now, so it's not going to connect. However, the call down, they're going to force that in. Nikwa, he's still going to take a lot of damage, and he's going to get a little help from Pycat. Does get the mech and stuns up Favos, but now here comes Resolution. Pycat is slowed down and in the trees.
So close to his dagger.
Oh, Pycat though is going to get annihilated first. Nikwa is going to try to sprint away again. Shards will hit, not latch him. That was kind of weird. The way, blink forward, Nikwa. One more hits, all of Resolution needs.
The Sigil is slowing him so much.
And the traps. Run, Slaughter, run. Oh, even if he does run, he's going to run straight into Rubik. He's going to steal something and then Fade Bolt for the Slaughter kill. Oh, Bambo's going to jump right back in, but immediately gets lifted up. Resolution, he's doing no damage here, but now he can do it. 1 shot, 2 shot, and Bambo's going to die as well. That's 4-0 in favor of Empire, not to mention killing off that Slaughter and even further slowing down his Blink Dagger. Looking rough for 4 Clovers, man. Looking rough.
Yeah, right now they have a lot of catch up to do. It's looking really grim because they need to be able... I think they have one chance when they finally get the blink on Slaughter in the next few minutes, and they need to be able to take a successful team fight with their heroes. If they get the blink and they don't win the next team fight, the game will become really hard for them because Empire will proceed to take the next Roshan as well with their superior map control. And once the Gyro gets his BKB, the fights is... The Gyro and TA, once they both get both of their BKBs, the game is going to be really difficult for them.
Until that point, Empire probably just going to be looking for tier 2 towers, random pickoffs as they can get it. Once you get BKBs, then you actually look to end the game. Templar Assassin very
And I wonder even if someone...
Oh, they found Saxa. He's going to get jumped upon. Blink Crush from the Rubik before the Slardar. Sure, man. I mean, that's just what happens when you're just having an absolutely miserable game as Slardar, but that's a super dead Winter Wyvern. At a certain point, they need, like, the perfect Winter's Curse, and of course the Blink Crush, and of course the Blink Lasso, and they need the Requiem.
Very little room for error initiations, and I was talking about whether maybe even Empire could consider to get a pipe as well this game. It's going to negate a lot of the Shadow Fiend and Lich, and even the Bat Rider damage, so it could be a possible pickup for... a good possible pickup for the Tusk here in this game. Because I don't think he needs to get, like... You're leading so much, you don't really need like other defensive items like the Solar Crest or even the Glimmer Cape, so maybe he can consider getting a pipe.
Yeah, just any sort of busts up the high ground item. I mean, it's only 22 minutes in the game. This is still a very young game.
I mean, this is a time where their lineup is so strong. So they could actually look to go for pipe timing and just try to push the high ground with it. It might be a good option for them.
Weave is going to be taking Empire, even spreading some of their forces, kind of trying to bait 4 Clovers in to try to go for Havos. And, well, if they can catch someone with the shards, that would be aces, but that's not going to be happening just yet. Slowly but surely, this mid lane tower will fall, especially when Resolution comes in. Oh, they're going to jump in with the Rubik. He's going to crush onto 2. Saxa, going to get stunned up. Here comes the call down. It's going to connect onto 3 heroes. Nikwa's the one to get left behind. He's embraced, but for how long, really, Slardar? Is that really going to work? They do get the lasso onto Havos right now. And are you kidding me? You're going to pause now. Well, I'm pretty sure Nikwa's dead. Right? Yeah, and it seems like Bambo agrees. Can they kill off Pavos? They really need to. Pycat, I think he's winding up the Requiem. No, he actually hasn't started just yet. He's going to fall back. Pavos gets dragged really far back, but yeah, he is going to get Graved in the end, and still Resolution sitting in the back line just swinging away. They do get a really nice curse. I will pop off the Rubik. Bambo going to try to Firefly overhead. Chainfrost doing a monstrous amount of damage. Resolution, he went too deep, and now it's going to be him to fall as well. Jump forward from Bambo. Funnick slowed down by just a touch. Tower will eventually fall. Walrus Punch onto Bambo right now. He'll dodge a Flame Break with the Snowball. Bambo going to get embraced, and Funnick, he has 1 stack of Napalm on himself. Now another 1. Seems like these are not damaging enough heroes for both sides to continue this fight, but definitely it's a 3 for 3 for 4 Clovers. That was actually a pretty decent hold.
Even though they lost the tower, but yeah, it was quite decent for them. But if you look at the exchange, the important heroes actually went down for 4 Clovers as well, like the Slaughter, the Shadow Fiend. I mean, Bat didn't go down, but it's still a really big loss. for them. But in their position, you're losing, so getting an even trade is good. It's actually really good for them. But unfortunately, they lost their tower, so it's more or less like it's okay, but not even that great for them because they didn't defend the tower. And this was the timing that Empire was doing when they haven't even gotten the BKB on the gyro. So right now they're just gonna go back to farming. They get the BKB on the gyro, they get the next Aegis, and they're gonna push again. I mean, they have to be careful when they're pushing high ground against Bat Rider. That initiation was actually really good from the Rubik. He actually got 3 heroes in the crush, Slada including. So it didn't actually get that. I think that dive would have actually resulted into a really big loss for Empire.
Empire. I mean, they had, I think, the BKB.
I mean, they took the fight without the BKB on the TA, so it was in the base. So essentially, it was like what 5 or 6k net worth, not in this fight for Empire.
Sometimes though, you just land the crush and you just got to do it, man. Sometimes you just got to pull that trigger. Next time they'll definitely have the BKB on the Templar Assassin. BKB on the Gyrocopter, not quite at that TA stage just yet, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna go for that.
Go back and farm for like 1-2 minutes. Stack Ancients once more. Get his remaining. He needs another like what 1500 around there. So you get the Ancients and then you kill Roshan. You should have your BKB.
And then once that happens, I mean, the Witch's Curse still may kill off the Rubik, but I mean that's the life of a Rubik. Chain Frost, that was, I want to say, one of the more damaging skills in that last fight for Clovers. Just happened to have, you know, a monstrous amount of damage there. But BKBs,
they dove, so the Chain Frost is gonna just hit heroes because there's no creeps there.
But next time it's BKBs on everyone. It's like, nice Chain Frost, bro. Did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And Aegis, there that too.
I mean, they might also consider getting a BKB on the Tusk. Actually, I actually think it might also be a possible option for them if they don't want to go for a pipe. Because if you get all the BKBs on your course, you don't really need the pipe when you're diving. So you just get 3 BKBs, you just run in. You don't need the pipe and you just kill heroes. But the downside of it is it's not so safe, since if you have the pipe, you can always use it like you pipe, you siege, and then the opponent's gonna wait for your pipe to wear off. And then when your pipe wears off, you just
then they lasso.
You just back off before that happens. So it's a much safer way of approaching the game. Right? If you go for triple BKBs, you're just basically going to dive in. If you don't kill a hero, someone's going to get lassoed and dragged into the tier force, and it might actually be really bad for them if they actually approach the high ground push that way.
Well, I mean, Empire are pretty ahead right now. I mean, 12k in net worth, not too bad. 8,000 in experience. They can
still lose a team fight if they actually make
for sure. For sure, but they may feel like they're in a position where they can make that call and just say, okay, let's get BKBs up, and then just go ahead and win the game. It's a lot easier to make that call, obviously, if you're this
They have to make sure they don't dive too hard, though, and the other thing they need to make sure they do as well is the grave position. Like, you can't just dive too far because then you can't get grave. That's like the 2 options that you have to defend your heroes, like grave plus the snowball. Because snowball is actually not so easy if that's curse, because you can't actually get near to get the snowball off. So it's not so reliable. I mean, you can use it for the lasso, obviously, but yeah, but the main thing is like dealing with the curse, and if you dive, you are going to be very exposed in a bad position.
All about that positioning, and for 4 Clovers, I mean, it's just the Bat Rider game. You just find someone out of position, find the Slaughter has Blink Dagger. Oh, he does, look at that. High roller, the Slaughter. He has Blink Dagger as well. Try to find someone in position, or out of position rather, and cross your fingers, hope that the Tuscan Dazzle aren't going to be there to help at least enough to really bail those allies.
Yeah, I mean, ideally the initiation should be like this. They have Bat Rider or Slaughter crush the target in front, the TA or the gyro, and then the other person that's not focusing in front,
Dazzle.
Should go behind and focus the Dazzle or the Tusk. So that's how ideally they want to do the fight, and SF would be just dishing out damage in the middle, and Y1 would be just waiting for the best opportunity to drop his Winter's Curse.
Yeah, maybe even on like the Tusk or something like that, just take out all the defensive power of the Empire
it depends,
side.
Though. I don't think
as many heroes
I don't think it's going to be easy to get it on the Tusk, because the Tusk will be standing in a far back position like the Dazzle, and he's going to be looking for an angle of initiation with his dagger plus snowball. So it's not going to be easy. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's not going to be easy for him to get the Tusk. It's more likely that he gets like the gyro or the TA, or even maybe the Dazzle, because the Dazzle probably has to come close enough to actually help his team. So those are the key targets that he might actually get in the curse.
Yeah, land one of those curses on someone with resolution attacking as well, and you very easily see Templar Assassin turning
you might
on
also
buddies.
consider using the curse just to waste the BKB duration on the TA or the gyro, but it's difficult right now because they both have 10-second BKBs. Like the next siege, they're gonna definitely have their 2 10-second BKBs. So I think 4 Clovers might actually decide that if they actually come to our base with 2 BKBs, 10 seconds plus Aegis, it's going to be too hard. So they might actually make a play around the Roshan. They might actually contest, because I think if they actually get a good initiation around the Rosh pit, you lasso and you drop. I don't think anyone has 4 staff, right, on Empire. So if you actually get a target on the cliff, you instantly win the fight, if you can actually achieve that.
Maybe Funix snowball saves. That's the only way that they can actually do that.
Yeah, they can actually still do that.
They need cute plays to really bail themselves out of that. And fortunately, we don't know. I don't think when the Roshan is going to be respawning. It's just like right on the cusp there. But one of the situations where Empire, they're crossing their fingers for 0 respawn, 4 Clovers. They're crossing their fingers for max length. We'll see who the game is actually going to favor with that one. But of course, we're none the wiser.
I mean, Empire can just like maybe hope for, they don't really need an instant respawn. They can hope for maybe a 1 to 2 minute respawn, so they can actually line everything up so that BKB and Aegis at the same time. So I don't think they are too concerned about wanting the Roche to spawn right away. I mean, as long as it's not a max spawn, they should be fine. I mean, actually, I shouldn't say that. I think as long as they actually get the Roshan around the timing, they have the BKB. That is the most ideal for them.
They should be able to line that up more or less. Like, even going into the Roche pit without your BKBs, or without your BKB on the gyrocopter rather, it's of course more risky. You just get like flame broken, bumped up to the high ground, then you're screwed as Navos, and maybe you're screwed as Empire. But just maybe they are powerful enough to grab Aegis and then farm their BKBs. Maybe if they steal amplified damage again, who knows? They definitely have enough brute force power, I think, to do that.
They don't really need that anymore, but
hey man, it never hurts. It never hurts.
Yeah, it never hurts, but they kind of, don't have their Rubik now, so I don't think that will happen.
It'll be a little bit hard for a dead Rubik to steal a spell from a dead Slaughter. I've never done that before.
Maybe in Dota 3.
Just click their portraits. Rubik, huge buff. By that time, I mean, it really does depend. There's maybe going to be an opening right now where, I mean, if it's a short enough respawn, where Lich won't have his ultimate and Winter Wyvern won't have his ultimate, yet everyone else from Empire will be alive. They're really paying attention to those cooldown timers. I mean, there's maybe going to be a window there.
That's a good point though, because 4 Clovers have to play their team fight around, their cooldowns, whereas if you look at Empire's lineup, they don't really need to play around any cooldowns. Cooldown is a fast, cooldown ultimate. Obviously, apart from that, basically everything is like, you would definitely have your spells every fight.
Gotta get that spell steal. Wait for the cooldown of Sonic Traps, because the cooldown is oh so long.
I mean, for Rubik, I think obviously the biggest steal would be the Curse, or even I mean, Lasso is still nice, and the Requiem. Those 3 are the. I mean, Slada Crush also is really good. We saw in the last fight. So Rubik has a lot of even the Force Armor is actually good.
Yeah, like you kind of don't want the Frost Blasts, but like the armor or the Chain Frost, if you can get it.
Armor or Chain Frost, and anything from Wyvern is good actually, basically. Wyvern, apart from his maybe first spell, the Arctic Burn, you don't really. I mean, it's still nice in certain situations, but mostly I think you want, in late game situations, you want the Embrace or his ultimate.
No, even Splinter Blast, like it has such a low cooldown as long as Rubik can stay on the outskirts of those fights. Just fire in Ice Volley after Ice Volley, and well, you may not get kills, but you're definitely going to do a hell of a lot of damage there. And of course, just as a blinking response to the Batrider, we already went over how the responses from Empire, mostly in this Rubik, are more so faster than anything else. Just blink lasso the Bambo Batrider. You may or may not steal the lasso, but who cares? As long as you get the telekinesis off as a Rubik, you're going to be golden.
Yeah. That's why I'm also surprised that he's going. I mean, he's going for bots, so it's still possible for the Rubik. I actually thought that he might actually want to go for a BKB. I mean, I guess with this build, you have less room for making an initiation mistake in terms of position, so you have to be very careful. BKB, even though if you get BKB, it doesn't negate damage from TA or even the gyro, the flag and stuff. You're still gonna die to that, or even the punch, but like you mentioned, the Rubik Lift is the most important spell that the bat has to be taking account into in the team fights. He has to be able to make sure that he gets a clean initiation without getting lifted by the Rubik. But without the BKB, there's always a risk, right? If you don't see the Rubik, that it might actually happen unless you lasso the Rubik, which is not the best target for you to lasso in a fight.
Yeah, I mean, Lasso doesn't have the longest cooldown in the game, but using it on a Rubik like that may just be opening the doors for Empire to storm
it's
in.
it's a tough decision sometimes in the team fight. You need to make sure that you get the lasso off, and then the Rubik cannot react in time to actually stop you from getting your 4-star, because once you get the 4-star off, then you're fine.
But lassoing is also just stage 1. Like if we look at Pycat's damage, there's not much.
I mean,
almost Yasha.
This is a result of the way they ran their strategy. It's not like him playing bad. It's because of the way they approach the game, and he's gonna take quite some time. I mean, he's still doing a lot of damage in team fights with his Requiem and Mech, but he's gonna build into SMY first, and then he's gonna maybe even build into a BKB after. I'm not sure if he wants that or he wants to go for even more stats like Butterfly or Skadi. Those items are really good at kiting, the TA or the gyro.
But it's gonna take a lot of time to actually get to that stage.
Maybe another 2 to 3 fights. Maybe 2 is reasonable.
He needs to get a Requiem off. Have we seen a Requiem?
Death Requiems.
Yeah. Have we seen a real Requiem? the Suicide Shadow Fiend Blinken Death Requiem?
Our game is starting, I guess?
You would think so, wouldn't you? But maybe not yet. I mean, even just like Requiem for the minus damage on heroes like Templar Assassin and Gyrocopter, at this point, it's difficult to land, obviously, because you're going up against the Assassin and the Gyrocopter. They just may kill you before you can get that to land, but that's, I feel like, probably the component from 4Clover's fight that's really been missing that may or may not turn the tides for them.
I don't think they're showing us it now, I'm not sure. Okay, whatever, but guys, production, game started.
It's okay, guys. For anyone watching, you're not missing anything. Everyone's respawning, and Roshan is a pretty long respawn.
Yeah, so...
Do we just radio it? I think we do.
Yeah, I guess Empire's obviously gonna they're gonna continue stack Ancients and wait for the BKB on the gyro, so like we discussed about BKB and just get their ages before the next fight. Oh, we're back.
Yeah, so time for everyone to chill, try to get those 1 or 2 big items up. Vos is indeed going to be going for a BKB as to be expected, and 4Clovers really need to get some sort of item up. I mean, Bycats, the Band of Elskin, Ogre Club, maybe not SMY, maybe straight BKB.
So the Bear Rider is also building a BKB. Huh? So he went for bots and then he tries... Oh, this is very strange for me. Because you can do this if you're having a lead in the game.
Yeah.
But you don't see this so much when you're actually having a disadvantage. I mean, the movement speed and all is nice, so you can actually get out on the map to push lanes as well. But overall, I think the BKB on the Bear Rider is really important for them to get a clean initiation.
Hopefully for him, he can get his BKB up by the time they actually need it.
It looks tough though for him.
Yeah.
He needs another, 2.6k, and Roshan is up it soon. And BKB on Gyro is also faster than his BKB. So I'm not sure if the bat will be able to get his BKB before the next big fight. So we'll see.
You just gotta believe that Bambo can find the gold necessary. Again, I'm not really sure if it's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure it's not, but who knows? Maybe Empire decide to give 4Clovers an extra 5 minutes. So they're just feeling really kind about that. We have a slow siege up on top lane. 4Clovers just poking in. They did take down a tower, which to their credit will put them a little bit closer to those BKBs, but Bambo really doesn't want to be running into this gank train right now. Has to have a lot of ways to get out of here. Gonna blink out. He'll be just fine. Because Empire, they're still chasing in. Phonics specifically, he's leading the charge, man. This Tusk is just fearless. Rubik behind him. He's going in deep. He's going to snowball in, find a target onto EGM. Blink forward from No Fear. They get the Walrus Punch onto the Lich. Fade Bolt is there. Nico is going to try to save the Lich, but Sigil's overhead, and EGM, he's going to get blinked upon. Eventually, should die sooner or later. There we go. Punch him down. Nico was in the area. Unfortunately, can't quite find him, but still they pick off someone. And they know that's definitely going to
They know Roshan is up as well. They have a trap there, so... And if you look at the Gyro, I think Gyro is...
Just got his BKB.
Everything is coming into, place for Empire. So they just need to make sure they get the ages and they're good to go.
They also need to not lose the Bat Rider or anyone else really here. The Bat Rider is desperately trying to get up that Hammer gold, trying to get that BKB gold, obviously. But Empire, they have the Wolf, so they have a hell of a lot of extra damage.
He still needs to... the recipe though, it's quite a long way for a bat. Yeah. I still don't think he would actually get it on time, but we'll see whether he is able to actually do it. Maybe he actually sells his wand for it. He's gonna try and farm as much as he can.
Well, if they're looking to contest Roshan, that window is closing and closing very quick. In fact, well, it's closed. Double life on Templar Assassin. Somehow she finds another double damage rune because that always seems fair. And she's actually going to go for an Assault Cuirass. Talk about your high ground busters on Templar Assassin. That pretty much...
It's good with the Slaughter, against the Slaughter as well. So itemizing against the minus armor from Slaughter and the Shadow Fiend specifically. And like you mentioned, it helps them push high ground. So they are going to look to finish the game ASAP, like as soon as possible.
Going to be a tier 2 tower standing in their way for however long.
We should just keep eyes on whether Bambo can actually finish the BKB. That is like a very important change in teamfight if he can actually get the BKB.
Well, Sax is doing what he can to help out. Just got to use those Splinter Blasts. Try to thin the creep wave. Unfortunately, with the Dazzle here, this creep wave should not be super easy to
They have to go back.
Yeah. Phonic is going to blink in blind. Not get punished, not get rewarded either, and well, they do jump in, lift up on an equal, one shot, two shot, that's a dead Slaughter. Saxa even taking a lot of damage. He was, I think, in range for the Embrace, but the target died too quickly. Now Resolution pulled back into maybe tier 4s. They're looking for a Fountain pullback. They're going to try to bump back, but he still has BKB and Aegis. Resolution is not going to die here, at least not yet.
All the Rex are going to go down. They spend their cooldowns.
They have a Chain Frost, they have a Requiem should Shadow Fiend get a full tank of mana, but he's not even here.
No initiation for 4 Clovers right now. Slaughter is down, there's no lasso. So what can they do?
Minimize the losses, jump in, curse in, onto the Rubik. That's a dead Rubik as Resolution tears his ally to shreds. Not bad, but they can certainly do a little bit better.
Curse, oh my god.
I mean, it doesn't even matter, does it? Like, they still don't have their Slaughter. They still don't have this lasso. They'll lose another tower. Phonic's going to jump in. Snowball's going to get him really far away. Bambo might just die, and he will to the Walrus Punch. Now jump in. Nico lands a really nice 3-man stun. Chain Frost finally going to be used. BKB's popped up by Resolution and Havos right now. No Fear is going to grave himself. He should be just fine as a Chain Frost bouncing through, but not doing any damage. Pycat will secure the Dazzle, but now it's trapped in the shards by Phonic, and he really can't afford to race these two heroes. Maybe he'll get a kill on Havos. Maybe. With the Embrace, Pycat will survive for a little while longer. That Snowball, did it catch Havos? It did. Now he's stuck in the fight. He's got to just turn around and do what he can. Phonic can't really help him out either. That's going to be Gyrocopter to fall. Phonic will snipe out the Lich with the shards and probably give his life for it. Pycat grabs a triple kill. For 4 Clovers, I mean, at the end they scraped together a decent fight, but they lost their Raxes. It's a little bit too expensive.
But Empire should have won that fight though. I think that the Dazzle grave himself like too early. If he had the grave for Havos there, I think they would have definitely won the fight because they will be able to kill the SF. So, but at the end of the day, they still have their Aegis, so they just need to wait for everyone to respawn and just go again middle. It should not be too much of a problem for them to secure the next lane of Rex for Empire. But I wouldn't count them out for making another dive and then barrel lassos someone into the tier 4s and then shit happens.
And going for the Fountain though, that was a pretty gutsy call by Bambo and wasn't really that close.
Yeah, if they had another 4-star on the Slaughter, that would have been okay. They have another one on Lich, so the next defense would be really strong for 4 Clovers as well because they have the double 4-star.
Oh, Aloha Dance is going to find the lift up onto Bambo right now. He's going to try to keep that Blink Dagger cancel because here comes the heavy hitter. It's Resolution. That is going to hurt like hell. But Batrider, he has a 4-staff. He's almost going to grab his Blink soon, and he will not get it. He'll 4-staff down to the south, yet he's still being chased down by one too many heroes. Running forward from the Rubik, still Firefly just to rub in the injury. Templar Assassin's gonna grab the kill. Batrider down for a minute with no buyback. I don't know if Empire can get to the base in time, but still, I mean, you might as well go for a Courier. Dropping low in the mid lane, but we'll survive.
50 seconds. Can they actually get a lane of Rex without the Batrider getting alive again?
They could. I think they take a tier 3, probably not the Raxes. I don't know. Maybe I'm just underestimating the Desolator ACTA.
Do they have their fort? Oh yeah, they do.
Under attack.
They have the glyph.
So. Yeah.
Well,
Shadow Fiend takes a tier 1. I mean, it's something for 4 Clovers. They need anything to get. Jump in, Rubik. Fortunately, I mean, Firefly is nice, I guess, but no last till, let's just say. Let's work down the tier 3, and that one's gonna get fortified. Batrider may be up in time to maybe catch someone on the retreat. But again, Rubik's gonna be at the ready. He now has Ice Armor stolen. That is so bad for 4 Clovers right now. And he could, you know, apply that to both, apply that to Resolution, then steal something else. Because this Rubik has an Aghanim Scepter. They're going to take down the range Raxes. Now they're going to try to jump in. Bambo, he's going to go up into the air right now. He's going to grab the Rubik. Can they bring him down fast enough? He's going to get dragged back way too far. Pycat will unleash Requiem finally, yet now he's not actually doing any damage afterwards. Really nice curse into both Resolution and No Fear. All at the same time, they're going to bring down the Templar Assassin super low, but she's still not dying just yet. Even if she does, she has the Aegis. As the Rubik down so far, Slaughter's going to force the buyback. Now the Templar Assassin, she'll lose her Aegis, yes. Havos, though, is going to cover that Resolution
they have to be careful.
escape. And Nikwa Oh, the Raxes are still standing though. They lost range Raxes. Not the end of the world here for 4Clovers, but they are forced to buy back with the Slaughter. That is really expensive for Nikwa.
Yeah, but Empire have to be careful as well, because numbers are not on their favor. It's 5v4 right now.
Oh, they're gonna jump in, slow burn onto Resolution, but Saxa's dropping in just 2 hits! So much damage here, Snowball coming in, it's gonna crush Slaughter and the list shortly after. Pycat Bambo, the sole survivors, Saxa does buy back, but to what end? Bambo and Pycat are on the run, Calldown's gonna slow down the Shadow Beam by just enough, Rocket Barrage gonna mix in with that Cold Embrace. Pycat should not get out of here, I don't see him making an escape here, he's gonna try to turn and fight, Death Arc doing a lot of damage, but now it's Snowball from Funnick onto Saxa, GG is called, as everyone from 4Clovers, well, they just get wiped off the face of the earth, and Empire takes them 32 minutes to win the first game of the tournament.
Yeah, some mistakes, some small mistakes, but overall, if you look at the bigger picture, Empire, they understood what they drafted and they played every timing. It's like, it's not perfect, but it was pretty good, like 80 to 90% execution, I would say. And I think the key thing was 4Clovers not being able to get enough on their 3-course. Their 3-course just needed too much resource on the map, and they didn't have someone to actually make